Let's move now to the Money Desk. Devin Morgan joining us. Devin, of course, we saw that national shutdown, and while it didn't shut down the country, certainly there was broad support. And people saying the same thing, the cost of living is too high, government needs to intervene more directly. But also today, some very concerning inflation figures, which of course just hammers home how tough it is to make ends meet these days.
And I always say, Sally, that it adds fuel on two fronts. One, to the wage demands that these unions have. And secondly, the Reserve Bank looks at the inflation outlook, and then you get rate adjustments upwards because it aims to tame inflation. So let's take a quick look at that inflation number. The rate at which prices are increasing, that's essentially what inflation is. That rate is now the highest it's been in 13 years. And here's a closer look at how that pans out. 7.8% year on year. That's your inflation rate for July, and that comes up from 7.4% the month before. And July inflation was driven largely by two big factors. The one is transport costs, 25% higher than it was at the same time last year. And we know this is a consequence of what happened with those fuel price increases. Taxi fares are up and many other fares related to transport up as well. And then food inflation still growing. Food and non-alcoholic beverages for the month of July up 9.7%. And then, as I said, the numbers only fuel the wage demands by unions, but that's also not good for interest rates, because when the Reserve Bank sees the inflation outlook going higher, then the likelihood of interest rates going up is also quite big. Here's economist Elize Kruger.
Inflation will still be fairly high. We're talking about levels of maybe 7.4% for August, and then down to 7, maybe just below 7 for September. But it will be moderating from the current levels. And looking forward towards December, if the oil price behaves and we see current, sort of stability return, then we could look out for a CPI number in the order of about 6.5% by December. So I think the Reserve Bank will continue to hike rates for a bit longer. I'm thinking towards the end of the year, but that we might get a point, almost like a ceiling for interest rates by the end of this year, and then to keep rates unchanged, maybe into 2023.